What's going on YouTube? It is Repulse, back with another video. In today's video, we are predicting every single Chelsea game for the 25-26 season. I have it all laid out. The schedule came out today, so I thought it'd be a little fun to predict every single game that Chelsea has this season, see how many points I think we can tally throughout the course of the season. Obviously, transfers haven't came in for us, transfers haven't came in for other clubs, so it's really just wild guesses as of now. Nothing too legitimate. I literally just went with my gut feeling for every single game. Um, so that's pretty much how we predicted every game, and we're going to start out with game week 1 that I actually predicted on my Twitter. Maresca's era, if you want to go see, I actually predicted that Chelsea were playing Crystal Palace game week 1 at home, and I predicted 3-1 win. I think that we'll start the season out pretty hot. I think that's one of Maresca's strong suits is starting out the season hot and ending out the season as well. It's just the middle of the season where it starts to get lackluster. But I think we start the season out with a 3-1 win against Crystal Palace. I could see Delap scoring. I could see Palmer scoring. I could see Esteval scoring on his debut. I think just a lot of excitement coming into this new season, and it gets capitalized in Game Week 1 as we win 3-1 at home to Palace. Moving on to Game Week 2 against West Ham, I also think we win. I think we win 2-0. I think just West Ham isn't really that good of a team right now. I like Graham Potter as a manager. I think they'll become good. I just don't know how long that process will take. So I think having them early is pretty good because obviously they were on a down last season. They didn't really end the season all that well. Um, so we have a lot to look forward to, a lot to capitalize on in Game Week 2. Also good that we don't have to leave London until match day 5. So it gives the team a much needed, like, in a sense, break that they don't have to travel for the first month of the season. Because obviously they had international duty. They had so many games at the end of the season. They had a final. They had the Club World Cup. So, it's good to know that they can just settle down for a month and just relax. In London, playing a lot of London teams in the first month, I think it's always a good thing just to be at home. Um, so yeah, 2-0 win against West Ham. I think we could see a Neto goal as well as an Enzo Fernandez goal. That's my prediction. So moving on to game week 3, we have a 2-2 draw against Fulham. Obviously, you're not going to win every single game. I don't want to predict us to win every single game, or else it'd just be unrealistic. And I think Fulham are one of those bogey teams for us, where we just always seem to either scrape a win or scrape a draw. And I think this is one of those games where we just draw against them. Um, I could see us, looking good in the match, feeling like we deserve a win, but then ending up drawing. I just think Fulham are bound to score. Obviously, they don't win that much at Stamford Bridge. I know they secured a win last season at the dying minutes, and then we secured a win at Craven Cottage in the dying minutes as well. But yeah, I see a draw here. Could very well be a win. Could very well be a loss. I went for a draw. I think it's 2-2. I think a highly entertaining game, just back and forth. Offense is firing rather than defense is staying steady. It ends 2-2. I think that um, Palmer scores in this game, and I think um, Reece James scores in this game actually. That's what we'll go with for a 2-2. Moving on to game week 4, we absolutely batter Brentford away, 5-2. I have this because we finally broke the Thomas Frank curse. I think whatever manager they bring in will finally be able to win at the Vitality Stadium. So, why not go big? Why not go a 5-2? Haven't really had that offensive explosion as of yet in the season, and it's only been 4 games, of course, but why not have one early? Why not have one when all cylinders are clicking? And that's what happens when we go away to Brentford. We win 5-2. Multitude of scores here. Pretty much pick your poison, and they'd most likely score. So yeah, 5-2 away to Brentford as we can finally win at the Vitality Stadium. Moving on to game week 5. We win 3-0 away to Manchester United. I think this is pretty plausible, to be honest. I know we don't win against Manchester United that much. We did last season. We drew in the away fixture, but I think this is the perfect time to play them. I think they won't be settled tactically because they're trying to have so many incomings, so many outgoings, really refining the squad that I don't think they'll get out to a hot start. So I think, playing them so early on in the season is a benefit for us. I think Palmer and Delap both score, and I think they get the 3 goals. I don't know who will have their brace. Um, but yeah, I think it's a really good time to play Manchester United away when they're pretty much just trying to figure out what to do with their squad, how to implement the tactics that Amarim wants. So I think we catch them lacking in game week 5, and I think they may be down at the bottom of the table at the first 5 weeks. Because because they have a really hard start to the season. They have Arsenal, they have Man City, they have us, they have I think Fulham and Brighton maybe. Um, I can actually we can oh wrong thing. Oh no, just switch screens. There we go. Um, Here we go. Um, we can just open a new window. We can see the Man United schedule. That is not what it starts out with. These are friendlies, I'm guessing. Yeah, friendlies. Actual season starts here against Arsenal. Then they go away to Fulham, home against Burnley, away to Man City, home to Chelsea, away to Brentford. So really hard start to the season. I think their only win might actually just be Burnley. Um, so yeah, I think we just capitalize on their poor form, and Amarim tried to implement those tactics. So I think we sneak, or not even sneak, just absolutely hammer them 3-0. Moving on to game week 6 against Brighton at home, I think we win 3-2. Always a chaotic game against Brighton. Can't really put um, too wide of a margin against them. Obviously, we won 4-2 last season with Cole Palmer scoring all 4 goals. I just think it's going to be another chaotic game that we win. Um, Through the chaos due to our attacking talent. It's at home. I think that's what's really going to carry us throughout the game. I don't think Brighton will be that settled yet. I think they'll be trying to play that Hertzler high line that they did at the start of last season as well to see if it finally works. But Hertzler went more defensive towards the end of the season because he realized that chaos ball wasn't really working. But I think they may bring that chaos ball back, and Chelsea capitalized that on that and get a 3-2 win. Moving on to game week 7, at home versus Liverpool. This is where our first loss comes. We lose 2-1. I just think the Liverpool quality is too much for us. I think they'll just not overpower us, but have enough quality to get those 2 goals, whether it's from set pieces, whether it's from open play. I just think that that team is so good. I think they challenge for the title again. I think they win the title again. And I think we put up a good fight. It's a good game. It's a 2-1 game. Maybe Liverpool win it in the dying seconds, but we just can't really hold on to a draw nor beat them in this fixture. I know we did last season, but they're pretty much drunk off winning the title. So yeah, I see Liverpool beating us and giving us our first loss of the season. Moving on to game week 8, we have another draw against Nottingham Forest away. I don't think they'll be that good next season, but I just think it's always a tough place to play at Forest, and I think we have a Champions League fixture in the middle of it. So the squad might be absolutely exhausted. Um, so that's why I'm going with the draw here. I just think not every game is going to be a win, even if you expect a win. And I think away to Forest is a hard place to play. Obviously, it was a hard result for us to grind out last season to qualify for the Champions League. I don't think Forest will be up there again. I think they might perform well in the Conference League, to be honest, but I don't think they'll be up for Champions League contention. But I do see us drawing to them away uh, at not in Nottingham in game week 8, 1-1. Um, Game week 9 at home to Sunderland. Glad they're back in the Prem. Really good feeling to just have them back. I always like them in the league. I just think, a classic team with a huge fan base. But we do beat them 3-1. I think we'll handily beat them. Might get a late consolation goal. That's why I put the 1 there. Um, but yeah, I really like Sunderland as a team. I'm gonna be rooting for them to stay up, but I think we do pretty much handle our business in this game. A routine 3-0 to a 3-1 win. They get a late goal. Defense stops trying. Offense, just holding on to the ball, playing slow. But I think we score like 3 goals in the first half and just go on cruise control. So yeah, 3-1 win against Sunderland. Away to Tottenham, 2-1 win. Obviously we had an insane 4-3 game last year with Cucurella slipping for Tottenham's first 2 goals and then them getting a goal at the very end after we came back to make it 4-2. But Thomas Frank's in charge. I could see them being a lot more defensive than last season. But I do think that it's the history of the Tottenham to lose to Chelsea, so I think we get a 2-1 win there. And I think all the fans would be pleased at that. Beating a new manager away, not at White Hart Lane. What is their stadium called now? Is it just Hotspur Stadium? I don't know. Um, but yeah, I think we just secure a win. We always do away to Tottenham. Moving on to game week 11 at home versus Wolves, we give them a 4-0 battering. Obviously, we won 6-2 away to them last season and 3-1 at home. I think that continues. They lost their most creative player in Mateus Cunha and Ryan Nori and really haven't done anything in the window. So I just think they could be a relegation side next season, and I think we just handle our business. Win 4-0, pretty comfortable. Kind of like that Southampton game at home last season where we won 4-0. I just think we handle our business as routine at home to Wolves. Moving on to game week 12 away to Burnley, I think we win 3-1. You can see the momentum starting to kick up. Um, after the Liverpool and Forest dropping points, we win four in a row away to Burnley. I just think they're not that good of a side. We should really be handling our business there. Obviously, they're going to be a lot more defensive, but I think if we get the first goal in the game, they're going to stretch it out um, a lot and not really be able to contain the amount of quality we have. And I think we bring a lot more quality throughout the rest of the transfer window. So handle our business away to Burnley. And then we have Arsenal at home, which I think is a 1-1 draw. I think this is pretty straightforward. I think Arsenal are so defensive that if we do get a goal, that's going to be the only goal we get. And I don't think Arsenal have too much attacking talent to really um, unsettle our defensive line to break the barrier to get two goals. So I think it just ends 1-1. I think Arsenal may score off a set piece or something like that. And we score a goal like Pedro Neto's goal just outside the box, pure quality strike, and it ends 1-1. Moving on to Game Week 14, away to Leeds. Obviously, always going to be a tough fixture, just due to the rivalry between us and Leeds. I just think we have too much quality for them. I think we sneak a 2-0 win, maybe get a or 2-1 win. Sorry, I think we get a winner. Um, yeah, I just don't know if Leeds have enough quality to stay up, but I think out of all the promotion sides, them and Sunderland definitely have the best possibility to stay up. I'd back Leeds a little more than Sunderland, just because their model of selling players for a lot of money and then buying players that are proven enough to help you stay in the league. I think they have the opportunity to do that this season, and I think they will. I think Wolves actually do go down to the championship, but I think we do handle our business here away to Leeds and get the 3 points. Moving on to game week 15, away to Bournemouth. I think we draw 1-1. Always a tough place to play. Bournemouth, really building a good fan base there, really building a good squad. Obviously losing a lot of players, but I expect them to reinvest well. They lost Dean Hoyson, looking like Zabiarni might be going to PSG. Semenyo's being linked away. Um, I don't know. I can't remember if Evan Nielsen was the player I saw or it was Tavernier that I saw also linked away, but there's a lot of players that may be linked away from the club looking for better moves, but you know, I think they can reinvest that money smartly. Obviously getting a lot of it to reinvest back into the squad, and I think that's what Bournemouth will do. I think they'll look great next season. I think Areola will build a stable side that can compete in the top 10 next season, as he did this season. I think they could even get a Conference League spot next season. So yeah, I'm really excited for what Bournemouth can do. I think it's going to be a hard fixture for anyone who goes away to them. That was proven this season. There was kind of a little bit of a fortress there. They beat City, they beat Arsenal. We beat them only 1-0 due to Christopher Nkunku at the end of the game. Um, so yeah, I just see us drawing to them away. Um, so yeah, pretty good season so far. Moving on to excuse me, game week 16, home to Everton. I think David Moyes will try to build a more attacking side, but I think we just pretty much handle our business against them. I think they'll be a lot better last season or I mean this season than they were last season. Obviously, they started the season out with Sean Dyche and started out very slow. I think they maybe crack the top 10 this season or get around the 12th place. I don't think they're a potential relegation side anymore. But I do think we handle our business. I think we have enough quality. Obviously, we won 1-0 because of Nicholas Jackson last season. Really good strike from kind of outside the box, kind of inside the box. Put it bottom left corner. But yeah, I think this is a pretty easy win for us. I think we always win at home to Everton. It's just the away fixture that's always been tough at Goodison, but now they don't have Goodison, so um, I guess stick around to see what I predicted in the away fixture. But for the home fixture, it's a 2-0 win for Chelsea. Moving on to game week 17, we're away at Newcastle. I think um, this is one of the games that we also lose. I just think that Newcastle are a really good side. If they're able to hold on to Isak, who is now linked to Liverpool apparently, I think they'll be a very good team. I think they can make a run in the Champions League as well. They have a lot of squad depth. They have a really good midfield, and we just can't seem to win at St. James Park. So I just banked in a 3-1 loss away to Newcastle. Moving on to game week 18 at home to Villa. I think we win 2-0. I think we come back from that poor result away at Newcastle in St. James Park and win 2-0 to or against Aston Villa. So yeah, I think they're a good side, but I think they're going to lose a lot of players due to their PSR, and I think Morgan Rogers might be one of those that comes to Chelsea. Um, so I think they just won't be as good of a side as last season. Obviously, they have the Europa League to play, um, but I think we can dominate the midfield as we did last season against them and just pretty much comfortably hold a 2-0 result. Moving on to Bournemouth at home, I think it's just a 1-0 scrape by win. I could see this being a draw as well. I really could. Obviously, we drew in the home fixture against them this year, with Reece James scoring a free kick in the 94th minute. But yeah, I could really see this being a draw, to be honest. But I think we just have enough quality to eke through a win. Really, really bad performance, just one of those that you eke a win through. And we do that against Bournemouth, 1-0. Moving on to game week 20, away to Man City. We lose 2-1. I just don't think we can really win away at the Etihad. We haven't since Thomas Tuchel, and I don't expect that to happen this season, especially with the reinforcements they brought to their squad. So I just see this being a 2-1 loss, pretty straightforward. We may score the first goal, we may start out hot, but I think Man City just pretty much edge us out in the end due to the amount of quality that they've brought into their squad. I think it's really going to gel together, and I think they're going to have a great rebound season in comparison to the last, where they still finished third. Moving on to game week 21, away to Fulham, I think we draw 1-1, which means yes, we drew both fixtures against Fulham, which is going to annoy the fan base, obviously, but um, yeah, I think it's really hard to win at Craven Cottage. I think the fans are always going to be up for it against Chelsea. Obviously, they don't really like us. It's a London derby, and I think we just pretty much hold out a 1-1 draw. I think, Fulham score first. They're going to play defensive. We're going to equalize, and it just stays at that. Um, so yeah, pretty bad run of form if we look at it. Um, won 2 out of the last five, drew one, lost two. But then we do end up winning again at home to Brentford 2-0. I think pretty cruise control result. I think we score early twice. I think we score like 15th minute and 30th minute, and then we're just on cruise control the rest of the match. Maybe Brentford get a goal, but I think we just pretty much cruise control. See this result through. Obviously Brentford are losing a lot of their talent. Um, I don't know if they'll be a top half squad anymore with losing Thomas Frank as well. I think they could be around the 14th or 15th. I do think they still stay up. I think they have enough quality to stay up, but um, yeah, I don't know how their season will go next season, so it's really hard to predict. Obviously, it's way too early to predict. It's just a fun little video, but I see a 2-0 win. I think it's a comfortable result. Moving on to game week 23, where we lose away to Palace. I think Palace are going to be a really good side next year. Um, I think they just continue to build on their squad, really get better. Um, as a team, obviously have the money from making the Europa League to move on, not for next season, but the season after. I think it's really going to set them up well, getting that extra money from Europe. Obviously, their first time qualifying. Um, I don't know if they're going to be forbidden from participating, but I doubt they will. I think they'll be able to participate in the competition. But yeah, I think it's just one of those shock results that Chelsea have, that we just play poorly and lose to Palace 2-1, but I don't think the fans would be too mad. Obviously, it's starting a trend of bad form. Only won 3 out of the last 7, but you know, it's December. All the players are starting to get tired. Not just for Chelsea, but for other clubs. And I know this is Maresca's worst period, so I'm predicting a little bit of more losses here and some surprise results, like losing away to Palace, which we drew at last season. Moving on to game week 24 at home to West Ham. This is where we rebound. We win 2-1, pretty much similar to the fixture we had this season. I think West Ham may go ahead, but then we secure 2 goals. I just don't think they're that good of a side, to be honest. I think they could be down where they were again last season in 15th, 16th. So yeah, I think it's a pretty easy win for us, pretty nailed in result. A win against West Ham, obviously a good result, beating another team from London. Always good to win a London derby, and in this case we do 2-1. Moving on to game week 25, away to Wolves, I think we win 2-0. Again, another cruise control result. Starting to pick our form back up. Um, yeah, I think it's turning out to be a good season for us at this point. Obviously, the Molyneux is always a tough place to play, but I just don't know if they're that good of a side, Wolves. Losing a lot of talent. Obviously, they looked better after sacking Gary O'Neill and bringing in the Portuguese manager Pereira, I believe. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I don't know why. But they did look good when he came in. Obviously secured them security. And not relegated from the Premier League. They finished in 16th, and Man United obviously jumped them on the final day after they beat Villa. But yeah, I think losing that much quality, they're not going to be that good of a side next year. So I don't know how far they actually go. So I think it's a 2-0 win. Away at the Molyneux, which has always been a tough spot for us. Moving on to Leeds at home, I think it's a 3-1 win. Again, like the Sunderland result, I think we go 3-0 up. They get a consolation goal at the end. Um, I think Leeds won't be that bad of a side, and I think it's always a tough fixture to play them. Obviously, just due to the fan base is always going at it, but I think it's a pretty nailed on win. I don't think their quality is enough to come and get a result uh, at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, so I think it's a 3-1 win for us. Moving on to Burnley at home, I think, again, not enough quality. I think we absolutely batter them 5-1. I think it's just one of those home games where everyone's clicking, everyone's getting back on form. We're firing on all cylinders because that is 1, 2, 3, 4 wins in a row. Obviously pretty easy sides, but always good to pick up 12 out of 12 points. You can see the next game was a spoiler right there. Um, but yeah, you really need to do this at this part of the season. You really need to get these results in hand, and I think a 5-1 win will instill confidence in the team to really push them throughout the season. However, it's dropped against Arsenal. I think a 1-0 loss. I think they just score early, sit back. We can't really find a way through. Their defense is really good. I think they just win again. Um, yeah, Um, Obviously, I don't like predicting a loss to Arsenal. I don't want us to lose to Arsenal, but I just think away at the Emirates, that's typically what's happened across the last couple of seasons. But hopefully, we find a way through this season. But for now, I have a 1-0 loss. Moving on to Villa away, we also lose 2-1, kind of like the fixture this season. I don't know if it'll be a mistake, but I think Villa are a quality side, and I think that they'll be able to pull off a result against us, especially if they're in dire need of gaining points to qualify for the Champions League. I think at this point we're pretty much on cruise control. Um, Good to qualify for the Champions League. Don't know if we'll be in a title race or not. Um, I doubt with losing 2 games back to back, but we just continue on with the season. On to game 30 at home against Newcastle. I think we finally pick up back form, win 2-1. Um, yeah, kind of like similar to this season. I think we just scored twice. Maybe in the first half, and Newcastle score sometime in the second half. Try to push on for a result, but don't get it. We hold out for a win. Win 2-1 against Newcastle. And then away to Everton, we actually win for the first time ever. I know we couldn't win at Goodison Park, but they have a new stadium. Um, so we'll take that 1-0 win. Pretty much just eke out a result, score in like the 50th minute, and then just you know pretty much just eke out the result because we know Everton's always going to give us a hard game for some reason. That's just one of our bogey sides. But we scrape by with a 1-0 win. We win 2 in a row. And then at home to City, we actually draw, which I don't think is a bad result at all. I think they're going to have a lot more quality than us next season just because of their incomings. But I do think we're able to hold out for a result and get a 1-0 draw, or 1-all draw, not 1-0 draw. That would be a win. I think we get a 1-all draw, and I think that's a good result for us, to be honest. And I think it helps us pretty much just push on for the rest of the season. Where we win 2-0 at home to Manchester United, pretty straightforward. I just don't think they're that good of a side. Obviously, bringing in some players like Cunha, I don't know if Emblemo is actually going to them or not. I know they want Ekatike, I know they want Osman, I know they want every single striker in the world. Um, but it seems like they're willing to break the bank this season just to try to push again for next, but I don't think that's the smartest strategy. I think they're just setting themselves up for disaster financially in the future because I don't really think they qualify for anything. I think they're going to have such a bad start to the season that it pretty much just riddles their European hopes. I think they still finish in the bottom half of the table. Um, so yeah, I think we just get a 2-0 win here, pretty straightforward. Moving on to Brighton away, I think we get a 3-1 win. I think just all cylinders are clicking right now. Maybe out the Champions League by this point. Really just looking to push on in the Prem, see where we can finish. Maybe it's a third, maybe it's a second. Um, but yeah, 3-1 win against Brighton. I think this is pretty straightforward. I think Brighton are as good of a side as we are. Um, and I think that Maresca will finally find that balance between attacking prowess and defensive stability. And that leads to a 3-1 win against Brighton. At home to Forest, we have a 2-0 win, so that is actually um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of our last 6 are wins. So 16 out of 18 possible points in the last 6 games, always good. Really going to leave the fan base out on a high. Um, yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward result. I don't think Forest will be as good as they are last season. I think we figured out how to beat them, just pretty much letting them have the ball, and they're not good at having the ball. I don't know if Morgan Gibbs White or Anthony Langa will be there next season or Elliot Anderson. I guess we'll see, but I still think we have a lot more quality than Nottingham Forest do, and I think that lets us get a 2-0 win. Moving on to Liverpool away, I think this is one of the games of the season, but I think we also lose 3-2. I think it's 2-2 for most of it. Liverpool get a winner. I think it's a very back and forth game. I think it's going to be really good for the neutrals to watch. think again one of the games of the season, maybe a title defining game, maybe not. I don't really know. Um, you'll see the Chelsea final points tally at the end of this two games. Um, but yeah, Liverpool pretty much just squeeze out a result. I think both teams look very good. I think we may look better than them, but they end up winning, kind of like what happened last season. But yeah, Liverpool beat us 3-2 away at Anfield. Moving on to game week 37, where we play Tottenham. I think we absolutely battered them 4-1. I think we pretty much just show who we are, give our true identity, and just absolutely batter Tottenham, which is what we're used to doing. And then to round it up, we win 1-0 away to Sunderland. I think they're really going to be defensive. Maybe they need a draw to stay in the Premier League. Maybe they don't. Um, but I think we just eke out a 1-0 win. Um, beating out, beating down a low block and finally breaking through at one point of the game, and Sunderland not being able to find a goal. But I hope they do stay up this season. I'm really rooting for them to stay in the Prem. I like their derbies against Newcastle. Um, but yeah, a 1-0 win away to Sunderland. I think that's a good result to end the season. Or good two results to end the season. I think we end the season with um, 22 out of 27, which I think is a great run of form. So yeah, we end the season off on a high. And if you want to see the results I predicted, um, 25 wins, 6 draws, 7 losses for a total of 81 points. I think that should really secure us Champions League football, maybe top 3 or top 2. I think that's a great season, maybe even a title race in there, but I think we just lose too many games to really have a title race. But yeah, that's my prediction for the 25-26 season. Obviously, not everything's going to be correct. And I'll probably do another video like this before the actual beginning of the season when we know who actually comes to the club. But, I decided why not? Let's have some fun. The schedule released today. Why not have some fun with it? So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, thank you so much for watching. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, it is Repulsed. I'm out. Peace.